Yeah, what both Republicans and Democrats in the General Assembly figured out is that there's actually a much smarter way to approach crime. We've seen our prison populations increasing, and there's just no way the state was going to be able to afford building more and more prisons. And what we found as we began to look at that is that, in fact, there are better ways to approach crime that reduces the amount of people who are repeat criminals. Yeah, one of the things that the Department of Corrections brought to our attention is they get a lot of what are called Class D felons. These are low-level, nonviolent criminals who oftentimes are sentenced to DOC for only a few months at a time. And that's not enough time to really do any programming or get to the root cause of what's causing their criminal behavior. So oftentimes there's drugs involved, mental health issues. And so what we're doing is reworking the system so that we can focus in on the underlying cause of the crime and not just kind of warehouse people for a few months at a time. Well, one of the things that we wanted to make sure is that we had plenty of room to keep out of society the people who are truly a danger to average Hoosier citizens. And so the whole point of our bill is to try to make sure that we're deal smarter with the lower level nonviolent criminals, keep them from coming back into the system. That frees up plenty of room to make sure we have the resources to put away people who are truly violent and need to be kept out of society. And so what we do in the bill is we ramp up the penalties for the worst of the worst, and we deal in a much smarter way with those people on the lower end of the scale. Well, what we want to do is add a smart on crime element to our traditional tough on crime approach. So, the tough on crime part is we want to increase sentences for violent offenders, for people who are predators, people we need to keep out of society. We want plenty of room for them to be put away and to serve long sentences. And so we're going to continue that tough on crime approach for the worst of the worst. That makes sense. But in order to be able to make that possible, to get the resources available to do that, we have to be smarter with the nonviolent, low-level criminals, the Class D felons that are out there. And so what we do in the bill is we make sure that we really get to the underlying cause of what's causing them to commit crimes. Often it relates to people addicted to drugs, so maybe they're involved in small-time dealing, maybe they're doing petty crimes, stealing things to feed their drug habit. And until you figure out a way to help them get sober and not be addicted to drugs any longer, unless you can solve that basic problem, they're going to keep coming through the system. So a smarter approach is to use these practices that other states have proven that really work to solve the actual cause of the crime and not just treat the symptom.